Good morning, everybody. It is Rollie, and I'm super, super stoked and excited to be restarting Chatting with Wisdom. I have really missed being able to connect with women over the summer, of being able to do this interview series. And I'm super excited to be having Tarnya Coley here. And she is going to be sharing Make a Comeback from Setback. And so Tarnya is the owner of TC Coaching Mastermind Training. She is the author of Open Doors. She is mentored by Les Brown. She's an influential speaker for the last 17 years. She shares keys to success that work in transforming women with practical tips. She loves inspiring others, sharing her story and inspiring others for the last 2 years. Her goal is to motivate women to let go of fear and believe in themselves. And so welcome, Tarnya. So is there anything else about yourself that you would like to share before we continue?
I'm an author of a second book, which came out April this year, which is called The Simple Way to Get Motivated. And it's a 365 motivational book. And I thought, the pandemic, what's going on, people's mindsets, and I thought it was key for me to release that book at that time. So yeah, I'm super excited about my new release of my book. So yes, thank you.
Wonderful. That is so exciting. And especially during these challenging times, right? So we're all worldwide are struggling with these different things. So Julie says, good morning. I don't know if you can see the comments. I forgot to ask you that earlier.
No, I can't see comments.
So Julie is saying, good morning, ladies. Lydia Bass says, yes, thank you.
Oh, I can see them now.
You can see them now. Perfect. Christine is saying, good morning. And so we have this live streaming in a couple of, so since I've done my last Chatting with Wisdom, I'm now live streaming in 3 different places at the same time. So this is pretty exciting. So it is on my Rollie Allaire Facebook page, so Rollie Allaire, Holistic Life and Wellness Coach. It is on my YouTube channel, as well as on, I have a physical location, which is Bridging the Gap Wellness Center. So we are live streaming on 3 different feeds. So this is
that's amazing. That's absolutely fantastic. Can I just let people know that are listening? As you can tell by my accent, I am from Manchester, England, and it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon here.
So she's running out of steam and I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
So that was my first question to her, was like, what time is it? Like, is it nighttime over there? Because time zones and me do not get along. I have absolutely no idea what time anything is. So I go by my time if it says this time on my clock. And if ever I travel out of time zones, my phone automatically changes the time for me so that I don't have to figure it out. So Julie says, love your accent.
Oh, thank you.
So I am super excited to be talking about this. So one of the things that many people that I work with, or that I have worked with over the years, have struggled with setbacks. So they have goals, they have motivation, they have all these things in their lives, and then all of a sudden something in their life changes, whether it is health related, work related, family related. There's so many different things, or in this particular case, pandemic related.
Yeah.
So there's so many different things that impacts us and gives us that setback, and we get stuck, right? So we get stuck, and it's hard sometimes to kind of get back going. So I love your new book, Health Issues. Absolutely, Lydia. So I love the idea of your new book, and I'm definitely going to be looking it up, because I am. There's always incredible ways of being able to stay motivated, and having different resources is definitely one of those things. So can you tell me a little bit about what's happened with you? So what's happened to lead you to where we are right now?
Wow. How long have we got, Rollie?
Okay, well, a brief version.
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. Right. Okay. So in 2017, there was a decisive moment that happened, and it was a preacher was preaching a message. It said, are you owning your future? And I was like, wow, am I? And that question really struck me. I don't know if anyone listening on the call, you've had that moment in your life where something just strikes you. And I thought, okay, I kind of am. I was a lecturer for 15 years in health and social care, and I really enjoyed that. Well, writing my book Open Doors came to me, which is available on Amazon. And something said, why don't you write your story about your setbacks and how you came back from that? And I thought, oh, no one's going to want to read that. It's a bit boring. But I decided January 2018, that January the 1st, I decided I'm going to do it. So I took pen to paper and I was on my laptop. And then 6 weeks later, Rollie, my book was complete. I finished it and I was like, oh my goodness, I talk about rejection, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, and how I overcame those things. And then chapter 12 is a bonus chapter on living a motivated life. And I thought that's going to really strike a chord with a lot of people. So then I handed in my notice of that year, 2018, and I'm going to go and just be a motivational speaker. I'm going to be a coach. And I've got my book. And then a couple of months later, in the April, I received a email from Amazon, bestselling author badge. I was like, whoa, this is exciting. Then I retrained as a coach, set up my business to help people, because when you feel stuck, it can be so frustrating. And I've been in that place where you are stuck. And then I had somebody help me to get unstuck and then move into a place to live my life's purpose. And I thought, why don't I also do that for other people as well? So that's what's led me on this amazing journey.
Beautiful. That's an incredible story. And one of the things that, so Lydia says, health issues, and wow, that's incredible. And I'm going to read the comments just so that anybody who is commenting knows, even though both Tarnya and I can see the comments, but if when you're watching it from a different stream, you may not necessarily be able to see the comments. So I just want to make sure that when we go to say something or answer something, that people are like, where did that come from? Like, it came out like way in left field. Like, why are they talking about that? So I just want people to know that because it's coming in, we're going live in different streams. We're getting the comments of everything while we're live streaming, but then later on, people may not necessarily know what the comments are. So I just want to make sure that that we address that. So this is great. But like, your story is so incredible, and one of the things that is very common is that being stuck and not knowing how to be able to move forward, and you being able to share those successes makes it huge. Right? So people are like, oh, I want to be just like Tarnya, right? Or my life is a lot like Tarnya. Why can't I do that I love and that I'm excited to do and that I am super stoked to do? And like, these are the things that make us take things to that next level, right? So it motivates us and it keeps us going. And sometimes we fall flat on our face when we try something new, and then people are like, well, I tried it. Now what? Right? So that's my question to you. I tried it. Now what?
Well, I'm a very firm believer in, we have to grow through what we go through. And that is very key, because yes, we're going to fall flat on our face, and we're going to always, a lot of the times we are going to fall flat on our faces. We're not always going to get it right. It's about that, making that progress and not perfection. Yes, there's a song that I love. It says, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. And you've got to really have that attitude of determination and perseverance. Yes, you get knocked down. And there's a saying that somebody said to me, was that, do not allow a setback to make you sit back. You have to make a comeback. And I was like, whoa, yeah, you got to make a comeback. You've got to have that determined attitude and that perseverance, that no matter what, I am going to continue to get up and keep on going. Because if we have that vision and that larger vision for our lives, and that's our why. And when you reflect on your why, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yes, I've got knocked down, but what have I learned from that? And I'm going to pick myself up. And then I'm going to keep on going, because it's not going to come to pass if we stay down and keep down.
Absolutely. And that is hugely key. So Julie says, that's just amazing. I have been working on a book also for a while now, for years. Julie, my outline has been done for years too. I get it. I add little paragraphs here and there. Someday I will just hit send.
Yeah.
Someday. But yeah, so like, and I love what it is that you're saying. So hey, Isabel, hey, Chuck. But I love what it is that you're saying is that those little things help us work through. And sometimes those little things are not little. Sometimes those little things are huge, right? So we get, so mental health may play a factor. And Lydia said earlier, health issues. So like there's these big things sometimes, family members' health issues. We lose people, different circumstances happen. But like we need to still be able to pick up where, and not necessarily, I was going to say pick up where we left off, but it's not necessarily where we left off, but pick up and move towards where it is that we want to go. Sometimes we end up at that crossroads.
I've been in that place where there's lots of things. It's in my book, Open Doors. I talk about when myself and my husband first got married. We've been married nearly 20 years at the end of this month. And when we first got married, we was living in a 1-bedroom apartment with our little daughter. And we thought, right, we're just at the beginning of our careers. Yeah, we're going to buy our first home. We were super excited. And then we bought the home and then it wasn't fit to live in. My goodness, what are we going to do? We were renting and then paid mortgage. Then on top of that, Rollie, they then sent us a letter to say they're knocking down our house to build a school. And I'm like, can things get any worse? Oh my goodness, we're going to be homeless. We're going to have no flat because we handed in our notice at the flat. We have no home to go to. We're going to be on the street. And I thought, I couldn't contemplate. I thought, no, our dream was to have this house. So what did we do? We made a comeback. We fought and we took it to court and we won, because I thought there's no way I'm going to be living on the street with a little baby and my husband. That's not the vision that we had. So it's about making those comebacks. It's having that perseverance. Like my son, he was critically ill, nearly died. And for 18 months, the doctors didn't know what was wrong with him. And he had a hole in his lung. And they had to make a life-changing operation on it. And it was just like, wow, these are massive setbacks. What am I going to do now? You know, I've got a career. I cannot now no longer work. What do I do? And it's not staying in that place, because we can't focus on our setbacks and what's going on. Because when life gets blurry, we just have to adjust the focus. And then I'm not going to be consumed by what's going on. What I have to now refocus. And that is what another key thing is with those setbacks, is to refocus.
And that is so important. And it's very ironic that that's the key word that you use, is that I restarted our anxiety program for kids. So I have a stress and anxiety program for 3 different age levels. And yesterday, that was one of the things that we talked a lot about, was focus, right? So because a lot of times we've got like all this chatter that's going on in our mind. And if we can just slow down the chatter so that we can focus on one thing, which is one of the things that we're actually going to be working with the kids over the next 4 weeks, is working on that focus and being able to find ways of being able to bring, because there's so many things stimulating. So kids are going back to school right now. There's all the restrictions. There's still all the different things that are going on. I'm not sure what level that you guys are at in England, but for us, like we're just starting to reopen things. And so like there's all this stress and anxiety, but not just for the kids. I mean, not just for the parents, but for the kids. The kids are experiencing all these things and not knowing. So the parents are stressing. They can hear the parents stressing. Even the parents who are trying not to let the kids hear, they're still hearing things on the news. They're still hearing things on in conversation, wherever it is that they are. And it's just so important for us to be able to have that. And so if we can do it as adults and have and be able to be role models for the kids, it is like so important, right?
It is. It's very important, because I've got a 13-year-old, and like in England, we are reopening, and he's going back to school tomorrow after, a 6-month break. And it's how I respond to the situation, because our children do watch us. So it's being positive, upbeat, talking to them about what's going to be taking place, how we respond to the situation in a positive way. And they've not been in school for a while, you know, half a year not being in school. And it is anxious time to go back. And to go back, it's not going to be normal. You know, I've got a letter from the school, things are not going to be normal. You know, class size is reduced, spending more time outside, make sure they've got their masks, make sure they've got, and it's like, whoa, okay. But it's how we respond to that situation, like you said, and let's focus and teach our children how to respond to setbacks.
Yeah. And this is exactly the life that we're living right now, is all of these setbacks. Some people still have not returned back to work. Some people are still only working part-time. So like, there's just still so many different things that are actually going on. So Lydia says, Johnny McClure, Mick, I can't even pronounce it, McLurklin sings that song, I Fell Down, But I Get Up.
I know that song, yes.
And
I'm not going to sing it.
I can't. I just butchered poor Donnie's last name. So determination and persistence, focus on a new life path ahead is what Sandra says. So, and it is just so important for us to be able to do that, right? So what are some of the other things that help you come back from a setback?
Wow. So if you're listening on the call, write this one down. This is a game changer. You already mentioned this, Rollie, but I'm going to mention it again. That positive self-talk. That is so key, because there's a quote that says there's life and death in the power of the tongue. And we have the power to either lift ourselves up or tear ourselves down with those words. I'm stupid. Oh, I can't do this. Why does it always happen to me? And just seeing things on the negative side. But when we start to fortify our mindsets with those positive affirmations, I can, I will, you know, I am of good courage, and all those things, is waking up with a different mindset, talking to yourself differently, is having those positive words, those positive affirmations. I say to my clients all the time, change your language. It's so important to catch yourself talking in a negative way, because I always say to them, there's a saying that says, tell that committee in your mind to shut up and sit down. Not today. We ain't got time for this. Not today. So we've got to change the way we talk. Positive self-talk. This is why I came out with my book, The Simple Way to Get Motivated. It's a simple book. It's short verses. Waking up each day, speaking positive over yourself, over your situation, and also over other people. And that's another thing that we can do, is that positive self-talk. It's very important to fortify our minds, because when we wake up, we're bombarded with news, masks, this, that, and the other. But we have to think about, what are we listening to? Positive messages. What are we reading? Like you said, I was mentored by Les Brown, and he's challenged us to read 30 pages a day to help us with our mindsets.
Wow, 30 pages a day. I don't know if I can actually manage 30 pages a day. And that's not true. I can, if I actually made that as part of my priority, but yeah, that would be definitely a challenge for me right now, because it's not one of my priorities. But being able to have those affirmations, and so I have on my phone, I actually have a list of affirmations. So if I find that I'm catching myself more in that negative mindset, because even though I work it and I teach it and I live it, there are some days that, like, I'm down where I'm not supposed to be, or where I choose not to be. I do not want to be. And so then it's like, okay, so I start pulling tools out of my toolbox when I start to see that those kinds of things are happening. And so on my phone, I have that list of affirmations. And so, and if, as life is going on, my list of affirmations is probably about 50 pages long. So I could probably read. I could probably do it because I add to those affirmations on a regular basis, because sometimes today, these are the affirmations that I need to hear from myself. Sometimes these are the affirmations that I need to hear from myself. So it's really important for us to be able to find those different things. And Lydia says that's funny. So she made that statement when you were talking about the committee in the mind. but I was busy talking, so I didn't acknowledge it. But yeah, that's definitely funny. I love that. So we invite our committee sometimes. Other
Yeah, we
times,
do.
just sit back. Just sit back, relax, let me do the work.
Yeah.
So what are some of the other? So you've got the positive mindset, being able to focus. What are some of the others, or are there any others?
A great tool that I use and I encourage my clients to use is that reject and replace. So we can often say, yeah, tell them to, tell the committee in your mind to shut up and sit down, but you've got to then, I believe, replace it with positive words. So yes, reject the negative words. I can't do that. I'm too old. Whatever the reasons that we have and that we think are justifiable when they're not really. We've got to then replace them with I can and I will. And it's making sure that it's strengthening ourselves and strengthening our mindsets, because we've got to fortify our minds. So it is important to reject the negative words, but then replace them with something positive. And that's how we catch ourselves making a comeback after that setback, because then you say, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. And then you start to pluck up, another word is courage. You start to pluck up that courage to then be able to keep on moving forward. And that's what we need especially in this pandemic and what's taking place. We need the courage to be able to get up, because the vision that you have, Rollie, and that I have, and the purpose that people have on this call is individualistic. It's for us ourselves. So if we don't do it, if we're just sitting back after a setback and we don't get up and we don't do what we're called to do in the way that we do it, who's going to do it?
Yeah. And then you always live in that regret, right? It's like, well, I should have, would have, could have.
Yeah.
Right. So when we actually start taking those actions, and I hear a lot of people that use different conversations about manifesting. It's like, well, if you just put it out to the universe, things will happen. And I 100% believe in being able to set those intentions and putting it out to the universe so that you have those things come back. But if you don't take the steps to be able to get there, it's not going to happen. There's no magical wand that comes down and lands everything right in front of you. And if you're that fortunate, yay for you. But most of us, that those magical little grains don't just land in front of us. So as much as we set the intentions and that we have that stuff, is that and that's one of the things that you said, is that we need to do, right? So we need to take those actions. We need to read those books. We need to do those different things to be able to make life look different than what it's looking like right now at this very moment, right?
Yeah. So like you said, Rollie, it's about taking that action, because having that larger vision for yourself, which is great, then I believe you write the vision down, make it plain. So you've got it in your mind. Now you write it down. I have a journal that I write my things in, making sure that I write things down. Okay, then I set dates down next to them. But then it's about taking that action. What productive action steps do I need to take in order for me to get to where I need to get to? So it's waking up every day with those intentions. So yes, I wake up, positive affirmations, and then I'm reading positive messages, I'm watching positive podcasts, and then I'm speaking positive. Then I'm taking the actions in order for me to fulfill what I need to fulfill. And the key thing is be consistent, because if you do some things occasionally, your results aren't going to be that great. But if you've got a goal and a large vision for yourself, and you're taking those productive action steps every single day, despite the setbacks, despite the difficulties, because during this pandemic, there are people that are carving out their own future right now, and they're seeing this as an opportunity to do something different with their lives. And it's great. And I know people on this call are thinking, yeah, this is not something I can do. This is an amazing opportunity. We may never get this time again, Rollie. 6 months off. Come on. You've got to utilize this opportunity to do something different. Always think about that thing that you wanted to do and go for it.
And how many of us have actually thought about, like, oh, well, if I just had more time.
Yes.
Right? So I like that. 6 months off. You're right. But it's so important for us to be able to take those steps. It's so important for us to be able to take that action, because when we don't, but it's also important for us to, so taking that action, but also, and one of the things that you said is those actionable steps, right? So, and I think that's something else that sometimes people get stuck on, is that they set up these goals and these steps, and they're like, okay, but I couldn't get there. Well, of course not. Like, that's supposed to take you 5 years, like, right? So like, but being able to make it so that it's actionable. So breaking it down into those steps, right? So like, that is something that is extremely important for us to do.
Yeah, that's very important. You said a key thing there. It's breaking it down. So I've got this vision. I remember having this vision for setting up my coaching 2 years ago. Okay, how am I going to do this? 15 years of a career or something else. How am I going to do this? So I wrote this large vision down, but then I had my short-term, medium-term, and long-term targets, okay, of what I need to do in order to get there, and then regularly reviewing the action steps, the goals that I've set myself, the short-term, medium-term, and long-term targets. And that's very important, to regularly review it. And I encourage my clients to have a vision board. Is because it's also aligning your mindset with the outcomes that you want to see. Because every time you see something, you're aligning yourself, and then also you're taking the steps to get there, and then you're breaking everything down, and then you're looking at, okay, in order to get here, these are the things that I need to do. Okay, I'm here now, or there's been a detour. Okay, I need to change things. I'm not going to change the goal, but I'm going to change the plan. And this is what I need now to get there. And it's not always figuring it out, but it's just going with, just do it. There's never a perfect time. There's never, when I left my job, a secure job, regular income, amazing career, people thought I was crazy. Like, what are you doing, Tarnya? You've only got a book and you're leaving with just a book. That's it. What are you going to do now? But the thing is, 2 years later, I'm here on an amazing podcast with Rollie. Who would have thought that? I've also been chosen as one of the 20 speakers to be on Les Brown's platform. We're going to be doing a Power Voice Summit, and all these amazing opportunities are taking place because you just take that leap. And that's important, to push yourself, because no one else is going to do it.
And that's so key, right? So no one else is going to do it. If you do not take those steps, no one else is going to do it for you. No. And so, so Ursula says, small goals over a period of time, short, medium, and long-term plan. Do it with urgency. Oh, I love that. Do it with urgency.
And yeah, I believe that there's a now sense of urgency, Rollie. I feel this now sense of urgency that we have to do what we are called to do, whatever it is. And some people are scared to speak out what they want to do because it's frightening, it's scary, and they're not sure if it's going to work out. And people are going to say, oh, that's ridiculous. You're not going to be able to do that. But the thing is, we're not going to be looking at what other people are doing. We're vision focused, and we're tunnel vision, and we're doing it with a now sense of urgency, because tomorrow's not promised. And we can see what's taken place in the pandemic. Tomorrow is not promised. So we have this urgency to do it now, not next, now. And that's really important.
And it is. And so when we can actually take those steps, and especially when we've been knocked down, right? So we talked about that at the beginning of when we get knocked down, is being able to, like, where is it that you want to go, and how is it that you're going to want to move forward? And that is extremely important. So over the years, I've had a number of different contracts and worked for a number of different agencies, and I've traveled our entire district. And so there's a number of different things that I have done over the years. And people would say, oh, you've changed jobs again. It's like, yes, but all of those changing jobs and all of those short contracts and all of those different things that I've done have given me all the experience that, like, all this different experience that allows me to be able to be where I am right now, where I get to say, I don't have to listen to an agency to do whatever it is that they want me to do. I can say, I like doing these parts, and I get to do these parts, right? So like, this is what my life gets to look like, is that I get to focus on the things that I like to do, as opposed to all these other things. And being able to make it happen is really important. And so taking those steps and and what do I need to do next? How is it that I need to be able to do next?
Yeah.
Right. So
we all have the tools inside of us. We all have the capability to do whatever we need to do, because some things are just untapped. But we all have it inside of us, and we're stronger than we actually think. And that's the key thing. And we should never let a stumble in the road be the end of our journey. And just because it's difficult and hard doesn't mean you're not meant to do it. You just need to figure it out.
Yep.
And that's all. You just need to figure it out. Okay, what do I do now? What do I do now? So when the pandemic happened, half of my business was going out meeting clients. And I thought, oh, what am I going to do now? You know, everything's shut down. I can't even go anywhere. So I had to sit for a minute and think, okay, what is Tarnya going to do? And then I came up with some ideas. If we actually sit and think, not think, oh, I'm not meant to be doing this coaching anymore because this has happened. We are going to get setbacks till kingdom come. We're always going to get setbacks. We are always going to have setbacks, but it's how we view the situation and how we respond to that as well.
Well, and I love what it is that you just said, because just recently I had a conversation with somebody who said, well, I guess I wasn't meant to start my business. I guess the universe is telling me that I'm not supposed to be there. And it's like, no, I don't think that that's what that message is. I think that message means that you need to step to a different, try a different course, figure out how, what direction are you going in differently, or how do you need to adjust it, right? So what do you need to adjust? And most of the time, and in this particular case, my honest belief is that the mindset needed to change.
Yes.
Right. So it was just something as simple as if you just shift the thinking to being, oh, okay. So apparently that plan's not working. What can I do instead? How can I do it instead? What am I going to do next to be able to get it done? Right. So, Lydia says, congratulations. Ursula says, not just now, but right now. Julie says, so encouraging. Julie just opened up a small business in a very small community an hour away from us. So she and her partner have been working on some incredible things, and she's building and growing, and it's incredible to watch her.
That's great.
Be thankful that we are alive and make a difference. Keep moving. Experience is a great adventure. Not trading your time for money. Live in your passion. I love that, Lydia. Ursula says setbacks can be a setup. Ursula says press, but I don't know what the press means. And everything happens for a reason. That is my favorite saying, Julie. Everything happens for a reason. And one of the things that you talked about, or that one of the things that you mentioned, was change the plan, not the goal. Before I moved into this space, I was working out of my bedroom. And so on my lamp that was behind me, that is exactly the quote that I put on that lamp. And so I had gone out and I was because I was making my bedroom look like a little office in my little corner. And so behind, I went to our local store. It's called North Cobalt Flea Market. And so that's what I did, was they have tons of wall stickers. And I'm like, oh, this one will be perfect to fit on my lamp. My lampshade. And that's exactly what it says, right? So, and it's just so important for us to be able to look at that change, right? So everything happens for a reason. Change the plan, not the. So there's all these different statements that we can say to ourselves that we can hitchhike and have that as the little voice that is on our shoulder.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, changing that committee from the negative to the positive, and have those positive voices saying, yeah, it's the pandemic, but this is what I'm going to do. Yes, things have changed, but this is what I'm going to do. And have your plan and just go forward. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it's difficult. But there's three things that Les always says to us, Les Brown. He always says, it's necessary. It's necessary that we have to go through certain things in order to get to where we need to get to. Because like you said, we learn as we're going along. We learn these lessons, and that strengthens us. And a key thing is, it is possible. There's people that have gone before us and they've done it. It is possible. So every time you're feeling knocked down, remember, it is possible. You can do it. And guess what, Rollie? It's on you. So those that are listening, it's on you. to do it. You can do it. Find that inner strength to do it. And not all the time you're going to, I don't wake up every time going, whoa, it's an amazing day today. It's great. No, I've got to talk to myself sometimes. Tanya, get up, get out of bed. Come on, we can do this. Sometimes, Rollie, I don't even feel like going to do my essential shopping. I don't want to go outside and the queues, your mask. All the time I forget my mask. I have to turn back around in the car, come home and get my mask. It's so annoying. But you know what? It's just part of what we do. It's just life. But we've got to navigate our way through in order to reach our goals.
And it is so important. And one of the things that you were talking about, it's possible. And then the vision that popped into my head was that those statements that go through that says, impossible, and then when they rewrite it, it says I'm possible.
Yeah, wow, right? That's powerful.
So, like, I love that. It's like a huge visual of using the word impossible. The word impossible is I'm possible.
Yeah,
right. It is so powerful. Important. So Ursula helped me understand what it is that she was talking about with press. So press through. You may have to change direction, but not the destination. I love that.
Yeah, that's great.
We're getting some really awesome quotes. I'm going to have to come back and
come write them down.
Yeah, come back and pick up some quotes.
Yeah.
And Julie says, here's an example. My car died. I was so devastated. That pushed me to do something I thought I could never do. Go into a dealership, and guess what? We're getting a brand new truck. Woohoo!
Brilliant.
Great job, Julie. Right? So, but if you would just stay at home and it's like, oh, my car died and like, I don't know what I'm going to do, and just stay in that. But you took action and said, okay, I'm going to go into the dealership. The worst that's going to happen is they're not going to give me a car.
Exactly.
Right? That's the worst that's going to happen is I'm not going to get a car when I leave.
Exactly. So Julie, she's right. We have the power to figure it out. We have all the solutions inside of us. But sometimes we let that fear, which is, I say in my book, false evidence appearing real. Okay. We allow fear to stop us. What's going to happen? What if it doesn't work out? What if they say no? What if this occurs? If Julie had those thoughts, she'd never get a brand new truck.
Yep.
But you know what? You just face everything and rise. Think, you know what? I'm going to go and do it. I'm going to be bold because it's possible and I'm going to do it. So you go, Julie. That's fantastic.
So it is. I've loved this conversation. This conversation is incredible. And I know that depending on who I end up speaking with, or that you end up speaking with, or somebody else on the call ends up speaking with, we may have those people who I call energy suckers, right? So it's like, it doesn't matter what you say, they're going to have something like to kind of sink you down. And if you can actually just stay focused on, I'm doing this, I'm going to get forward and I'm going to move through this, then it makes all the difference in the world as to how we can actually get to that next step. Where is it that we're going to go? How are we going to get there? And so it's incredible, and it's an incredible journey to watch. And I love being able to see people like you, Tarnya, that have actually been able to get through that that task, right? So get through that moment of, okay, now when I look back, and that's one of the other things too, is that sometimes we get tunnel vision when we're looking in the moment. But if we have to take a step back and not focus on the past, but if we take a step back and look at the distance that we've come, not focusing on the details, but focusing on the distance, it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've actually come quite a bit, right? So it's incredible.
And it's important to write things down because we often forget the things that we've accomplished. And I always say to my clients, celebrate your wins, whether big or small, celebrate them, because we can often forget. And that really encourages us and motivates us to keep on moving forward when we look back at our wins. And another key thing that you said is about who's in your circle. I always ask that question to people. Who's in your circle? Because there are people that are vacuums that will vacuum the life out of you, and that you will leave worse than when you went to meet them. So you have to check who's in your circle, who's your support network. Rollie, this is an amazing platform that you have, that people can get well, get inspired, get empowered, and bridge that gap with wellness, which is an absolutely fantastic support space.
And it is just so important. And one of the things that you talked about, and I like that that comment about being in the circle, is again, we, as we move through, we're not necessarily perfect, right? So like
No.
we have those moments when we're the ones that are sucking the life out of our friends sometimes, right? So,
Yes.
and as you're speaking, I'm like, I had a dinner the other night with my friend, and like I was just not in that best space. But the thing is that she was able to pick me back out of it, right? Which she and
Yeah.
I, that's one of the things that we do, is that when she's in that space, my role is to, as her friend, is to be able to help pick her up. But her role as my friend is that when I'm in that space, that
That's
she
it.
helps to kind of drag me out. So so sometimes your friend is in there and sometimes you are the friend that's sucking the life out. And so your friends, the people that are in that circle, need to be the ones that say, hey, just a minute. Right? So,
That's
and you
it.
need to have those people that can actually kind of pull you out. And the reason that I'm saying, and that I'm mentioning how sometimes we're in that space, is that I often get told, oh, wow, everything's always so great for you. No, it's not. Oh, you're always so positive. No, I'm not. Right? So, but that's my goal. My goal is, my husband laughs at me all the time because he's like, oh, the glass is always half full with you. Not always, but I try to keep my glass half full. Right. So, because it's really important for us to be able to stay in that mindset. But sometimes my glass is half empty, and I need those people. I need that circle. I need those people to be able to help bring me back into having my glass half full, as opposed to the opposite.
I think, Rollie, is that with people that make a comeback after a setback, I think there's something special about them, is that they utilize the tools in their toolbox.
Yeah.
Yes, we're down for a minute. Yes, we get a little bit sidetracked, but then we think, oh, what's that tool I can use to help me get out of this? What's that tool? What's the other tool? And that's really important, is to use the tools that we have, because oftentimes we know it, but do we do it? Because there is a gap between knowing and doing.
Yeah.
And we've got to close that gap. And we've got to change our paradigm shifts.
Yeah. And that's perfect. And that's one of the things that we have a group that we do. We meet up on Wednesday after our Wednesday evenings. And that's one of the things that we actually talk about, is the different tools. We talk about like what's going on in their life or whatever it is that's happening. And it's a live group coaching. But one of the things is that that toolbox, right? So you're going to be sharing, you're going to be talking about like whatever it is that's going on. And if you're stuck and you can't find the tool that you can use, somebody else gets to pipe up and say, hey, Tarnya, have you tried that? And a lot of times those tools are already there. We already know them, right? But we forget that it's like, oh, so somebody got to shine their flashlight on that tool, right? So shine that tool. Exactly. So Lydia, she shared your quote, false evidence appearing real. I love that. Julie says, go out of your comfort zone and amazing things will happen. And Straw says, hi, ladies. And Lydia says, your circle determines who you are.
Yes.
It really does.
And I like what Julie said there about comfort zone. Oh, my goodness. I was absolutely loved my comfort zone because I just knew what would happen. But I realized I wasn't growing. I wasn't developing. I wasn't stretching and challenging myself, and I wasn't achieving my goals. But when you step outside of your comfort zone, amazing things will occur and it will happen. And you just got to just step out and things will just start to happen for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really incredible as to how we see how we can actually see things happen, right? So, and like yourself, you're right, like that nice comfy sweater, right? So staying in that like nice comfy zone and allows us to be able to, like, when we can actually step out of it, like it's huge. It's really huge. And like you said, you were talking about like having to like sometimes kick yourself out of bed to say like, no, let's go. Right? So it's just really important for us to be able to take those next steps and figure out how we're going to make things work, and to be able to try and shift that balance with that fear, but also with that action, right? And not making it that we're actually jumping off the cliff,
Yeah.
Right. So it's not about jumping off the cliff.
Yeah.
It's not about overcoming your fear by throwing yourself overboard. Right. It's about, okay, what am I going to do next? Well, I can put my life preserver on first.
Yeah.
Right. So I can make sure that there's a safety net underneath and know that there's going to be somebody there to be able to help me if I break my arm.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like all these different things that we actually do. So Ursula's quoting Les Brown, as bad as life is today, it can just be as good tomorrow. Nice. Right.
Nice.
So
I like that.
it is, it's so important for us to be able to find those positives and find those different things. So I can't believe that we have spoken for almost 45 minutes.
Wow.
And this has been an amazing conversation, and I've loved the conversation that people are having. And if you're catching the replay, definitely please share whatever thoughts that you have, whatever conversations that you're having. We would love to continue the conversation as we move offline. But I wanted to give the opportunity for Tarnya to be able to talk about something that is coming up in October. And so, because I think that it's something that will be incredible for some people to connect with. So did you want to share what it is?
Yeah, I'll share. Thank you, Rollie. I just want to end with this quote. I love this quote. Napoleon Hill said, "Victory is always possible for the person who refuses to stop fighting." So let us continue to keep fighting. So the 1st of October, I have a 30-day mindset challenge. And it's about what we do is fortify our minds. So we set routines. It's like what we're reading, what are we watching? And every day for 30 days, you will get a challenge, you will get a reflection, you're in a private Facebook group, and each day you'll get a video looking at our growth mindset to ensure that we are moving forward in our mindsets, because it's a continuative process. So on the 1st of October, it kicks off for 30 days. And I did this in June, and it was an amazing experience. People started to get ideas. People finished their books that took them years to do. So many different things took place inside that group because we're fully concentrating on our mindsets. We're being transformed by the renewing of our minds, and it's a continuative thing. So it's an amazing challenge. If you want to know more, DM me, look on my Facebook page, message me. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and I'll be happy to answer your queries.
And if you don't know how to get a hold of her, wherever you're watching this video, there is a description, and it has all of her contact information. So it has a website. I'm not sure, actually, let me check to see what else is on here, because I can't remember what you had put on. I think all of your social media links are on here as well. Yeah, so she's got all of her social media links, and her website are all listed in the description wherever you're watching this video. So Julie says, wow, that's the longest live I've ever stayed on. This is amazing, ladies. Like and share. Yes, please like and share this video. Let others know some of these things, and especially for this upcoming challenge. It sounds so delightful. A couple more quotes as well that Julie likes is, do it because they said you couldn't. And her other one is, if nothing goes right, go left. I love that one.
Love it.
So just so important for us to be able to have that mindset. So important for us to be able to know that there is another side.
Yeah.
Right. So just because we're stuck in the mud doesn't mean that we're going to be here forever. The only way that we're going to get stuck is if we struggle.
Yeah.
Right. So like if we try and find if we stop struggling, we can actually stop and look around and see what it is that we can grab a hold of to be able to pull ourselves out. Right. Yes. But if we stay in it and stay stuck and keep struggling, then we're not going to be able to see what's on that other side. So
exactly.
This has been incredible. And I am so thankful that you are my first restart Chatting with Wisdom. And so if anybody wants to see other videos, there are more on my website, and I'll actually put the link in the description as well. And so you can actually go and hear from other inspiring women. And I've got a couple of men in there, but typically inspiring women. And so this has been incredible. I love And I love the timing of your title, right? So it's like making a comeback from a setback. So COVID was definitely a setback for me.
Oh yeah, a massive setback.
Like, oh my God, I was trying to do like all these behind the scenes stuff to try and get back online, because I had shifted from being online into my physical space because we had just opened up a wellness center. Wow. So my focus was all about being in the building. Yeah. And then it was like, oh, now I have to go back online. Now I have to go backwards.
Oh my gosh.
So trying to do Chatting with Wisdom, because I wasn't promoting it to be able to get people on and all that other stuff. So it was like, okay, so I'm just going to stop for the summer, and I'm going to focus on the things that I need to focus on and get things re-going. And so I am thankful that you are the one that is here to be able to help us get started again with Chatting with Wisdom.
Great. What an honor and a privilege, Rollie. Absolutely amazing to see you. You had a setback.
I did.
You didn't allow it to make you sit back. Rollie said, I'm going to make a comeback. Hey.
And it was perfect timing. So like when, and that was one of the things that I saw with your description, and when you had sent in the information, and it was like, wow, this is perfect. This is just so perfect in terms of timing. So when people are talking about like, oh, well, the universe makes things happen, these are the things that the universe makes happen, right? So yes, these are the things that are aligned because I took the steps, I took the action, I put it out into, we have a group, and we were able to share and say, hey, this is what's going on. And I'm now booked until March. So like I've been booked up until March. So it's like every Wednesday until March. And we actually have I just posted on my Facebook page a Google document that actually has all of the upcoming speakers that are coming up, guests. And so, which we're going to continue to keep updated, because I'm like, well, how am I going to be able to share with all these people about like all these incredible guests that are coming? So we created a Google Doc that we are now made public, that people can actually have access to know who's coming up next, what topic are we talking about, and that kind of thing, so that it can prepare you for questions. And so I love it. So this has been incredible.
Imagine if you just sat back and did nothing. You wouldn't have all these amazing things take place. So wow, congratulations to you, not the universe, to you.
Well, well, and this is incredible because I really love this. I love being able to connect with other women. And so I had one person, for example, who shared, well, so like give me a little bit more information about who you are and the kinds of things that you do so that I can actually match my topic. And it's like, no, this is about featuring you. This is about teaching the women who are here to be able to help inspire other women, because we all have a story. We all have a story to tell. My story is my story. Your story is your story. But when we actually share those stories, it allows other people to be able to pick little parts of themselves out of those stories that say, I can do it too. Right? So I can do it too. This is incredible. So did you say don't let a setback become a sit-back?
No, I said don't allow a setback to make you come. I got Don't let it allow you to sit back. Yeah, you've got to make a comeback.
Yes. So get the keys and open the door. I love that, Ursula. Take action. You got to be hungry, says Les Brown. So this is incredible. So I love this. So Ursula says, thank you so much, ladies. Amazing encouragement. Get title 2. Get title 2. Oh, great title 2. Like it was a typo. And I'm like, I don't understand that one. So great. Sometimes written language is sometimes challenging, especially when the typo decides to, or when the autocorrect decides that you're trying to say something much different. Yes, so this has been incredible. So thank you so much, Tarnya, and I am super blessed to have you be our first guest starting our fall season. So thank you so much, and again, definitely like and share, have the conversations, and definitely reach out to Tarnya to get set up on her challenge coming up October 1st.
Thank you very much, Rollie, for having me. Super excited.
Okay, so I will talk to everybody again next week. And Tarnya, I am looking forward to staying in contact with each other.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.